All right, y'all, we back with another reaction right here on ABP Reactions. And right now, the Nolan Wells case is heating up as new chilling audio has been exposed. Let's listen in.
Sir, that was not the question. Is there a person, a living individual on the boat?
Yes, there's lots of people breathing on the boat.
A new audio recording from the Nolan Wells case captures the chaos on the water the day the 18-year-old disappeared off Mississippi's Horn Island. And now we're hearing the frantic distress call. The United Cajun Navy is also firing back at attorney Ben Crump over a major claim. And also there's this decision by prosecutors to keep a key piece of evidence under wraps for now that is telling a lot about where this investigation may go. I'm going to break down every new development in this story. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law&Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. Okay, we're back with a lot more that has happened since we last updated you on the case of Nolan Wells. I think the last time we updated you was when the results of that independent autopsy were released, which, by the way, came out. They couldn't rule out foul play, so it leaves Nolan's family still demanding answers. There's still, of course, the state medical examination and the toxicology reports and what will come of that. But now what do we have? We have new audio that has been released by the Mississippi Department of Marine Resources, and it is giving us a glimpse into some of the chaos that was occurring on the water on that fateful July 4th day. One of the first pieces of audio that we're hearing from that day captures what appears to be the frantic moments as a boat that Nolan had potentially been on that day that was connected to this group began taking on water. And we've got the full call. We're going to unpack it for you. But first, just listen to this.
Hey, we're at the west tip of Horn, and our bilge pump stopped working. We're sinking. Can y'all please come?
Yes. How far is the water coming up, sir?
It's coming up. We're just sinking. I don't know. Like we're going down now.
So that's what I've been talking about. That is the sound of what appears to be panic as the boat was taking on water. But there is.
We're sinking. See, when you talk to niggas like us, when you say sinking, we think this motherfucking boat is, nigga, Titanic, nigga. This motherfucker starting to flood with water. It's starting to, nigga, you know what I mean, go underwater. Like, what? Okay, was that the type of panic where, because I'm thinking like the call would be a little more frantic, but what exactly, what is it? I don't know. I don't know the procedures of how long, I mean, what to do and how long it take for a boat to drown when water start for a boat to sink when water start getting in it. And then what could this be right here, y'all? Like, if this is in relation to what they're saying, like the franticness of it all is, how does this relate to what are they trying to put together right here? That at this moment, what was going on? Was David still alive? Was he dead already? Were they using his call to cover up something they did? What could this be?
One thing that we're trying to figure out, where was Nolan Wells? Where was Nolan Wells when that was happening? Was he on the boat? Was he already off the island? We don't know. It's one of the many gaps that we're still trying to piece together in the timeline. And what we're hearing is just one piece of this overarching puzzle. Nolan's friends are talking now. We're going to tell you what they said in these interviews. The United Cajun Navy, that was part of these search efforts for Nolan, they are firing back at attorney Ben Crump, who's representing Nolan Wells' family right now. They are disputing a key detail and making a shocking claim about what they've actually discussed, or rather, what they haven't discussed. The DA, the district attorney, is planning a move that's going to change when we'll get a look at the results of the state's autopsy. So a lot is happening. I want to get into it all. But first, let me just make sure everybody's on the same page with this if you haven't been following the case from the beginning. So we're talking about 18-year-old Nolan Wells. He was from Ocean Spring, Mississippi. He was a college student, football player. On the 4th of July, he went with a group of friends to Horn Island. It's a barrier island off the Mississippi coast. It's really isolated. There's no like commercial developments or anything like that. Going there to celebrate. At some point, he disappeared. He was reported missing that night. A massive search was launched. And then 2 days later, on July 6th, his body was found on the island. But what happened to him? That remains the central question. That remains a question that nobody, at least publicly, can seem to answer or has answered. The results of the family's independent autopsy listed Nolan's cause and manner of death as undetermined. And remember, the family seemingly being distrustful of law enforcement or suspicious or maybe critical that the first impressions of what happened to Nolan were there were no signs of foul play. This seemed to be accidental drowning. They seemed to want more answers or a second opinion, so they hired Ben Crump. They ordered an independent autopsy. And this pathologist found that pieces of Nolan's body, we're talking portions of his neck, throat, had been removed by the state medical examiner because the state medical examiner did the first autopsy. Again, we don't have the results. So it'd been removed by the state medical examiner before this second autopsy could be done. So this second pathologist couldn't determine whether there was in fact injury or trauma to the neck. And that leaves many questions still on the table. It raises a question. If the state ME is doing further testing of those components, can the state ME definitively conclude there was trauma, that this was drowning accidental or not? Maybe it's tough to say if it's accidental or not, given those watery conditions. And then there's that red discoloration in the back of the head, which we talked about last time. According to medical experts I spoke to, it could be from decomposition. It could be a blunt injury before death, because when I spoke with Dr. Nada Rutherford, she said that the body doesn't bruise like that after death. But let's start unpacking now what we're now learning, what's new. So the Mississippi Department of Resources released a recording of a distress call made on July 4th from a boat near Horn Island, which we believe Nolan was on at some point during that day. We don't know for sure who made this call, but it does offer us a look into what was unfolding out there on the water that day, including the boat sinking, the kids panicking, and again, where is Nolan? Now, before I play this audio,
what does this call got to do? Like, make it make sense. What are you alleging this call? That's why is this call important? Are you trying to say you hear Nolan in the background or you don't hear him in the background? What? Because I think it would make more sense if you were saying, hey, you can hear Nolan's voice in the background on this call. That would make it be like, wait a minute, that shows evidence that he was there on the boat and everybody's saying he wasn't on the boat and never left with him. This is evidence that he did. That's what I would say why this call is important, but why is it important if you don't hear his voice in the back? What is the point? What makes this call important? Unless you hear Nolan's voice or you hear them saying something about Nolan in the back, then it's important. But let's figure it out.
Just something to keep in mind. I first saw this from TMZ, Charles Laboutier, basically said that there's a conversation happening online that in this audio, in the background, you can possibly, arguably hear, is he dead? Nolan, oh my God. What?
Oh, see now. There we go. That's what I've been waiting to hear. This is what they feel they hear? Oh, shit. That would be groundbreaking in this case, if that is true. That would debunk all that saying he never got on the boat shit right here. Is he dead? Nolan, oh my God. That's why this call is important. Go get the goddamn people that can enhance the sound and get all the dead noise out the back, and I know y'all got people that do that shit, so go find them and get it done, and let's get some clarity on what they're saying.
Very difficult to make out. I leave it to you. Let me just play this. I don't know if it's going to be part of a conversation, but here you go.
Detail assistant, Vicky speaking. How can I help you? And is everybody on board in good health otherwise?
Yeah, everybody's
How many? All right. Do you need the United States Coast Guard?
What?
Do you need the United States Coast Guard?
No, we do not need that.
All right. All right. Do you have your current GPS coordinates?
Let me go look. 46.72. Okay, my coordinates are 30 degrees by 14.684 north, and then west by 88 degrees by 46.79.
All right. How many adults and children on board?
No, there's no children.
How many adults?
So, is there anybody on board? How many adults, sir? That was the question.
Gotta jump in and pull the plug while you're going.
How many people on this boat?
Hello, sir.
Hello.
Yep, I just need you to answer these questions so I can get you over to the captain.
How many
adults on board?
There are 0 adults on board.
What?
There's nobody on board the boat?
No.
Wait a minute. There's 0 adults on board. We hear people in the background, bro. What the fuck?
Nobody
right.
here is over the age of 21.
Sir, that was not the question. Is there a person? Is there a person, a living individual on the boat?
Yes, there's lots of people breathing on the boat.
All right. How many people, sir?
Like 7.
The dispatcher then transfers the call to a captain.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I just actually got off the phone with his grandpa, who I'm guessing is the owner of the boat. And he said,
Okay.
I just hung up with him. He said that they don't need any help right now, but if something changes, he'll call me back. So.
Wait, what? What is going on? The first nigga who ever called, he sounded like he was drunk. He sounded like he was a little, you know what I mean, under the influence on that call. But how do you go from the boat is sinking to, hey, they don't need help right now. Later, we got you. We'll call back. What? How do you go from the boat is sinking to don't mind? Don't worry about it. That's kind of tricky.
All right.
I'm guessing that they may have figured it out, because that's what he said. So they're in a panic and their boat won't crank.
Now, as I said before, we don't exactly know where Nolan was at this point. But according to reporting from WLOX, this distress call was made around 4 p.m. And according to the Jackson County Sheriff's Office and other accounts that we've heard, Nolan was apparently last seen around 3 p.m. So it places this call at just about an hour after someone would have last had eyes on him. But I want to talk about what happened since that press conference, because if you watched our previous episode, you might remember that we talked about this moment, this big detail that attorney Ben Crum shared about how Nolan was found.
How does someone go missing at 3 p.m. at the beach on 4th of July in broad daylight and nobody knows where he's at? 3 p.m., y'all. Broad daylight. And nobody seen nothing. Nobody know where he's at. He stands out like a fucking needle in a haystack. He's a black kid with all these white people at the beach at 3 p.m. in the afternoon, and nobody knows where he went or who he was with. This ain't like we talking about at 10 o'clock at night, 11 o'clock at night where it's dark and we can't see nothing going on. This is, listen, right now, let's put it in the black perspective. We at the park having a hood day. Let's say, where something was all black. So you don't see all black. That white boy that's there, he's going to stand out. Why? Because he's only one out of all these motherfuckers. It could be 2 white boys. They're going to stand out. To the point where, like, you're going to notice who he came with, because this is just a nigga, and that's we're nosy by nature. We're going to notice, okay, oh, he with them niggas, or he from this hood, or whatever. If we're at a hood day, this is what I'm saying. But same shit with white people. They're going to know, who is this black kid over here with? Oh, he's with that group right there. They came on those 3 boats right there. Now those 3 boats are gone, but the black kid is still here, and you're going to be like, who the fuck is he still here with? If I, like, are y'all people watchers? I'm a people watcher, man. I be watching my surroundings, man. So I be paying attention to all kind of shit. I'll be like, man, hold on. His homeboy is gone, but he's still here. I would know that information. Like, well, now he's over here with this group. Like, how is it that nobody knows nothing at 3 p.m. in the afternoon? Broad fucking daylight, 4th of July. It just seemed like in all these stories, it gets to the point where, oh, he left with a girl, and that's it. We haven't got past somebody saying, hey, we saw him with the girl they're talking about, and they got on this boat, and they left at 5 o'clock. Nobody saw nothing? That's why it don't make no sense. So he had to have left with you niggas. He had to.
The United Cajun Navy are so forthcoming. The fact that they told us, we haven't heard from any of their local officials, that Nolan was found face down, fully clothed. Well, that's significant to us because the last time we saw him on the videos, he was without a shirt. So at what point did he put on a shirt? Somebody saw something. Somebody knows something. There were almost 300, 400 people. Somebody knows something.
Major moment, because if it's connected to it, if you remember that piece of video that surfaced just days before the press conference,
Look how many people out there. Look how many people are out there.
This video, which TMZ obtained and published, was recorded on July
Look how many people out there.
4th
Nobody
at
knows nothing.
2:23 p.m., so a little under 40 minutes before Nolan was last seen, appears to show an individual, a man. There's an argument that that could be Nolan wearing blue swim trunks and shirtless. And we
Listen, now this is what I don't understand when it be shit like this. How hard is it to identify who this boat is,
could be Nolan wearing blue swim trunks,
identify this boat, identify who the owner is, and go ask him? Look at this guy. He got a distinctive build. Let's find this guy and ask him, hey, who was that black guy at the end of your boat right there while you was right there chilling? And find out these people right here. Y'all got all the material to clear up pictures so that y'all can make out the faces of who these people are. Y'all got this shit. Y'all got access. The government has access to that shit. So that's what I'm going to be getting. But you know what? It also be like, we are also watching like Law and Crime. We're not actually watching, you know, the police and the feds and everybody and all those people who be involved do their stuff. So they be holding info. They be building their case. They got it all. We just ain't gave it to y'all yet. Same like we saw with the David case, where we thinking like, why the fuck they ain't moving? Why they not going to ask this? Why they not asking that? Why they not? And then kind of find out they got every fucking thing. So I think that's what's going on here. I think they about to blow the roof off this motherfucker. In due time. They're going to blow the roof off this motherfucker because some's not adding up. And where there's smoke, there is fire. Something's not adding up. It don't make no sense how none of y'all seen these motherfuckers. None of y'all seen him after 3 o'clock in the fucking daytime. Nobody?
and shirtless. And we remember there was a photo of Nolan Wells that had been circulated from that day wearing those trunks with his friends. So Crump was raising the question of whether anyone saw anything in between when he was without a shirt, like here, if this is him, and allegedly when he claims he was later fully clothed. Here's the problem. The problem is that the United Cajun Navy says they never told Crump he was fully clothed, and they are firing back at his initial claim. They're now coming for him. On July 26th, they wrote on X, "Did Attorney Crump lie about UCN? Yes. He said UCN told us Nolan was fully clothed. Not true. We have never spoken with Crump, and we certainly didn't tell the parents anything like that." Now, here's where it gets a little confusing, because this fully clothed claim doesn't actually originate with Ben Crump. No, the president of the United Cajun Navy, Todd Terrell, was on a July 20th episode of Crime Stories with Nancy Grace and said yes to a question about Nolan being fully clothed. But Terrell seemingly later corrected himself, saying Nolan was clothed, meaning he wasn't naked. He was wearing swim trunks, and that, yes, he should have been clearer. So the Cajun Navy mentioned that in this X post. Right?
Oh, well, that's where he stemmed from. That's where it stemmed from. Why you act like Ben Crump out of pocket? Nigga, if he saw an interview with the fucking owner saying, yes, we found him fully closed, then nigga, that's what, he probably didn't get the update.
Quote, did the UCN president get taken out of context during an interview? Yes. His definition of fully clothed meant not being naked, wearing swim trunks. It doesn't matter what anybody else thought it meant. It only matters what Todd meant because he said it. The bottom line is that Nolan
it does matter. What the fuck type of statement is that? It doesn't matter what he meant.
Was wearing only swim trunks when found. That's a fact that can't be refuted. This is a manufactured distraction to divert attention from this press conference blunder. So that's the dispute with the United Cajun Navy. But now I want to talk about the key figures in this case who are now speaking out. Nolan's purported friends. They sat down for lengthy interviews with conservative commentator Brandon Tatum on the Officer Tatum Show. What they're saying is adding even more layers to all of this. So, for example, first up, Trayston Shepard, described as one of Nolan's best friends. However, there's been some commentary that Nolan's family has maybe publicly disputed this. But here's what he spoke about with
the nigga who said they've been best friends since elementary, middle school, high school, in college, and his mother only met him twice. Make that make sense.
Tatum. So he spoke about the moment that he learned that Nolan's body had been found, saying, quote, "I was putting fuel in our boat at 6. I got told that they were taking out another boat to Chandelier at 7. So I put my boat back on the lift and I went to McDonald's. And then I got the news after I left McDonald's that his body was found." He says he had nothing to do with Nolan's death and that he has been living with guilt ever since, saying, quote, "I beat myself up every night I lay down, beat myself up anytime it crosses my mind, because in my head, if I wasn't drinking, if I didn't get into that altercation," apparently there was an altercation that day, not involving Nolan.
We need more details on the altercation, because that got to be the one of the video yelling. The video of the friend group yelling. Could it be that? Could it be what happened on the boat? Altercation? What altercation do you mean, brother?
Involving him. Maybe I would be able to do something. Maybe I would have told Nolan, "Hey, man, you're not going with that girl. Just come back with us. Maybe it just plays out different." So, yes, he's talking about this altercation that he says happened on the island, this apparent fight with a stranger that got so intense that he claims his uncle made him get back on the boat and leave. And regarding the girl comment, that's interesting because this is what he says was the last thing he told Nolan that day. Quote, "All right, buddy, I love you. See you later. I'm glad I said it. I had been under the influence a little bit, and that's probably why I did say it at the time. Just, getting all lovey-dovey. But I'm at peace. I said it." Another friend, Warren Hudson, also spoke out, was interviewed, talked about the phone, the keys, the night everything unraveled. According to Hudson, they were in an emergency situation. They needed to leave quickly, which is why they wanted to get Nolan on board. And he said, quote, "Nolan, get the F on the boat. Get on the boat." And Nolan said, "No, I'm staying out here." Now, this whole back and forth.
I don't get it. Like, why y'all make it seem like this nigga, he don't own a boat. Y'all his white friends that he coming to hang out with. His only means of getting over there is through this boat. Like, so that's the part. Like, y'all can't just leave it like that. Like, oh, he said he was getting on the boat, he didn't get on, and then now he's dead. At 3 o'clock in the fucking afternoon. That's what keeps throwing me the fuck off. 3 o'clock in the afternoon, bro. Broad daylight. And nobody can't seem to come up with what happened with him after 3 o'clock. Make that make sense. Like, what? And what's up with this girl? What's up with the girl? Okay, now it's time for the girl to come forward, or unless she's going to wait to trial or whatever, or if they're going to take this shit to trial somehow and accuse somebody. Because where is she at? The homeboys is coming out doing videos. Where is this alleged girl that he left with? Where is she at? Come out and clear your name. Shit, these niggas is over here clearing their name. People saying they killed him. They doing videos. Now they trying to pin on you like he left with you. Where are you at? You better come out, because if they keep doing videos, they're going to start really, hey, it probably was the girl. It probably was you know what I mean? So, I don't know. This is tricky.
About whether Nolan stayed on the island to talk to a girl. Nolan's family has indicated from the very beginning it would be very unlike him to leave his friends. And this is of note, too. According to People, Nolan's mom, Christine Wonsley, said in a prior interview with the Griot, this is weeks back, that this young lady that Nolan was apparently talking to contacted her. She said in the interview, quote, "She did reach out to me initially, just saying basically like it was a hey and bye type situation."
See, that's what makes it tricky.
So it's not entirely clear. Did he follow this girl? How long were they together? How long were they talking? And look, one of the biggest outliers in all of this, why people have a lot of questions, is no matter what happened to Nolan, no one saw anything. No one saw him drowning, if that's the case. Now, look, we don't know exactly what's being
3 o'clock in the afternoon. Nobody saw nothing.
Told to law enforcement, what's being told to Ben Crump and his team. But that's a big question. So here's where the phone comes in, okay? So Nolan's family has raised concerns about content being deleted. And remember, the phone was left behind on the boat, apparently. The family has indicated they used a Life 360 app to locate Nolan's phone, and they got custody of it from his friends. But they also said that they found it strange that he would leave the phone behind if he was planning to stay on the island. But Hudson said this, quote, there was no reason for us to get on Nolan's phone. No one touched Nolan's phone. No one even was in contact with his phone until it was moved from the boat to the truck. And none of us have access to Nolan's password to get on his phone and delete anything. We had no reason to delete anything. There's nothing to hide here. And there's been a conversation about maybe he wouldn't take his phone because you're entering at the saltwater. Maybe that's common when you're boating. Now, Hudson also clarified the timeline because the last time he claims he saw Nolan was around 3 p.m. on July 4th. And he claims he saw Nolan in the water with a girl. Said, quote, I looked at Nolan and Nolan was like shaking his head, laughing. And I was like, dude.
Hey, you know what? I was going to wonder, like, they can't. Is it possible to, when people check phones, when the government checks phones and all that, is it possible to see a potential date and time that the phone was locked and unlocked? So they're saying he's dead or he's gone after 3 o'clock. The phone is on the boat, so it shouldn't be nobody that unlocked the phone between that time and got to his mom. Now, is there a way that they can, I would think it is, that they could tell, oh, somebody unlocked the phone at this time on that night of his disappearance at 10 o'clock that night, the phone was unlocked. Right? I don't see why the phone wouldn't tell you that. I feel like that's one thing I would say, hey, let's confirm that. Was the phone ever to put that theory to bed or to put light on that theory that they unlocked his phone and deleted shit? Was the phone ever unlocked after his disappearance?
You crazy. Now, both Shepard and Hudson denied having anything to do with Nolan's death, okay? But now I want to talk about another update, major update, that's impacting the investigation itself. Just last week, the DA, the district attorney, Angel Myers McElrath, made an announcement confirming the state's official autopsy report. It's being weighed. It won't be released to the public until a grand jury reviews it. That's significant. Grand jury being impaneled to determine if criminal charges are warranted. And the DA made this clear when speaking with WLOX, saying, quote, every death in the county, except those of natural causes and non-criminal car wrecks, is presented to your grand jury. Many people don't know that we have handled death investigations in this manner my entire career. She also said her office is handling the investigation the same way as all others, telling WLOX the pressure for answers does not change what the work requires. Our responsibility to Nolan and our community is to complete this investigation thoroughly and carefully without compromise, supported by the evidence and worthy of the confidence of the people we serve. Our restraint in communicating facts and evidence is not an effort to keep the truth from the public. It is an effort to protect the integrity of this investigation and the grand jury proceeding. And that would make sense because if you have information out there, will it affect other witnesses' accounts, witness testimony? Could they change the narrative at all? Could it affect potential grand jurors being impaneled? You want to keep everything as buttoned up as possible while this is an ongoing investigation. Now, she also addressed the flood of misinformation that has been swirling online, saying, quote, if we sacrifice the integrity of the process in an effort to satisfy today's questions, we risk undermining confidence in tomorrow's answers. Here's the thing. DA says this is standard procedure. Nolan's family has been frustrated by the lack of transparency from the very beginning. They've called on local officials to be more forthcoming. They've made it clear they don't trust the investigation is being handled maybe properly. And as for when that grand jury will convene, the DA hasn't said. So for now, we're waiting to see what happens next. We've been on top of this from the very beginning. We will continue to stay on top of it to see that this family gets the answers that they need. That's all we have for you right now here on.
Yes, sir. Shout out Law&Crime, man. Listen, man, I feel like we keep getting to like this bump in the road, boom, that we can't get over because it's like y'all making these multiple videos, but the one thing we don't get any update on, I'm waiting for an update of somebody saying, hey, I saw Nolan after 3 o'clock. There's all these people on the island. Oh, a guy has come forward and said he saw Nolan at 4 o'clock. Just nobody saw nothing, bro. That's the update I'm waiting on. What? Something. If y'all saying he stayed behind, why isn't there one person that has come forward? Not one person literally has come forward and said, hey, he was on a boat next to us at 4 o'clock. Why do I know this? Because this the time I left. I left around 5. And he was right there next to us because I was talking. I saw him jump off the boat and dive in there. He was dealing with a girl. Like, you're not people watching. People watch at events like this. You're on a boat, you're chilling, you're drinking, you're looking around. You're going to, like, it got to be something. All these nosy motherfuckers in the world, come on, man. This shit just ain't making no sense, y'all. And we got to, figure this out. We got to figure this out, man. But I feel like I'm calling it now. This is going to be like the Davis situation where I feel like they're sitting on some shit. They know something. They know something. But part of me says they're going to come out and say, not like, there's nothing wrong, no foul play. Part of me feels that way. Like, I feel like they're going to say no foul play, and that's going to cause an uproar. I feel like they're going to go to no foul play lane. Something tells me they're going to go, their autopsy results, after, investigation, no foul play was discovered, and that's going to cause a fucking uproar, bro. Let me know what y'all think, though. What do y'all see happening with this case? What do y'all see is what really went on? What do y'all think really happened? Let me know in the comment section, man. I'm going to give y'all 2 seconds to smash the like. And as always, get ready for the next reaction.